our GitHub repository. If we log in again, we'll see this screen, but I can go to the repository I created in the previous video, and I will see that I still have my two files, my README, which is displayed down here, and my cupcakes file, which is there. Now I can keep working on the web, but it's much better to work in your own computer. These files can become longer. Maybe you want to edit this when you're not on the internet. Maybe it's just easier if you're in different places. You want to work on this and upload it and synchronize it with GitHub after that. So in order to do that, there's two steps that you need to do. One is go to code, and only one time you can open this with GitHub Desktop. And only one time, like I said, you have to download and install GitHub Desktop. After that, you open with GitHub Desktop and a program will open it for you. So I'm going to download this. Whatever you need to download this with will show up here. So if you're in a Mac, you can click here, or it should appear automatically over here. So I'm just going to download it for Windows, and I'm going to install it. It's fairly easy and simple. There's nothing hidden about this. All right. Once GitHub Desktop is installed, it will launch itself automatically. So I can sign into github.com with this, right? And for that, I'll need my name and password. And that's what I will do. So I will sign as this person. Okay, I need to authorize the GitHub Desktop application. I will authorize it. And this site is all trying to open this. That's fine. Open, click open. So now here's my information. I'll say finish. And then we're going to get started. This is when I will put my files from GitHub onto my computer. For that, I will clone a repository from the internet. This is what I would need to do, and I can do it this way. Because I'm logged in, it knows my repository, so that's a repository. And then where is it that I'm going to put this repository in my computer? That's what I need to choose over here. So I'm going to choose, I'm in Documents, whatever folder you want, and I want to put it in Documents. Here's where I want to put my my recipes folder. So I'm going to select this folder, and you can see it's creating, in Documents, it's creating a folder called Dessert Recipes. So I'm going to say clone. It's cloning Dessert Recipes, and it's done. It says no local changes. This is not overly important right now. Now your computer now has this folder. So if I go to my folders window, I will see it right here, Dessert Recipes. And if I open it, I have the cupcakes file, and I have the readme.md file. Okay, so those are my files. Now, there are changes I can make here. So for example, if I want to change the cupcakes, I can, I'm going to go change the cupcakes. So I'm going to right click on the cupcakes file. Okay. I'm going to open with a text editor. In this case, Notepad is the basic one that comes with Windows. TextEdit is the one that comes with Macintosh. And here's my recipe. And what I want to do is I want to format this a little bit better, like this, and this, and oops, this. It is very important to open these files with what's called a text editor, which is like the simplest of programs that allow you to write stuff. I'm going to format it like this too, and like this, different steps. And there. That's the end of the recipe. And maybe I like you know, I have a sweet tooth, so I'm going to change it to 3 tablespoons of white sugar. Also, it says ingredient cupcakes. Maybe those should be reversed. So they should be cupcakes. And then here, ingredients. So I have changed the formatting of this, and I'm going to save this file. I can close this now. So I have done my modifications in my computer. These modifications are not on GitHub yet. If I go to GitHub, I'm going to go back to my account, and I look at the cupcakes file. It's still the old ugly file. I'm going to go back to the third recipes. Now, I'm going to go back to the GitHub desktop tool, and I will see that now my cupcakes files has changed. The red is what I have deleted, and the green is what I have added. And you can see that this line is interesting because I deleted it. It considers that I've deleted the whole line with 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of white sugar, and I've added a 1 cup plus 3 tablespoons of white sugar. So this looks like I've deleted a line and added another one, but really the change is highlighted there. So all the changes are highlighted here. Okay, all the changes are what I deleted, what I modified, what I erased. So I deleted some white space. I added some paragraph kind of things, and you can see like a minus and a plus sign in what I have deleted and added. Okay. The other thing that you will see is these markers that are kind of weird, right? But they tell me what's going on. So I deleted line 7. I've added a line 8, line 7. I deleted line 16, 17. I added a new 17. I added a 15th line, and so on and so forth in file cupcakes. These, you can ignore that. By and large, the green and the red tell you all you need to know about the modifications. Now remember the stages that we were going through before putting this file on the web. Remember, this is my computer, not the web. So we need to put it on the web. So what I'm going to do with this is, it says it's modified. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to right click on it, and I will say, well, I can just say commit to main. So by default it says update cupcakes. What I'm going to say is it's now formatted file. Okay, it's now a formatted file. It is sweeter as well, and I will commit it to main. So I have committed to main, which means in my computer that file has effectively changed. Now I need to what's called push my changes to GitHub. So we will go to push commits to the origin remote. So this, let's parse this a little bit. So I committed my file, I committed my change. I'm going to push it up to where it came from, to the remote origins. Remote because it's in somewhere in the cloud, right? And it's the origin of this file. So I'm going to push it to the origin. All the other things here, don't worry about them. So now, 0 change files. There's no new files. And look at what happens if I go to the web and I look at my cupcakes here. It's the formatted file now. So I have effectively synchronized my file with cupcakes. Now let's assume, just for the sake of argument, that there are more files and more changes. Well, all of those will show up here. Now, if other people are also modifying these files, what I always want to do is, before I modify them in my computer, I want to bring the changes from the origin. So say, for example, Joe is working on other recipes, right? Before I start modifying anything, what I want to do is fetch origin. that goes to GitHub and brings everything from the origin, all the changes, and puts them in my files. Okay. Of course, there's no changes now, so no need to do any of that. And I could keep changing this. I could keep changing. I can keep changing my my file. So if I go to my documents, insert recipes, I can make more stuff. I can change my readme.md, for example, right? And I will open it with a text editor again. So open with them and do the exact same thing that I did earlier. I'm going to open it with a notepad. And here I'm going to put your task, upload any recipes you want. And then another guideline for people who want to collaborate is if you modify a recipe, mark clearly what can be modified. Something like that. I'll save this. And then on top of that, you know what I'm going to do? I'm also going to add another recipe. Okay, so I'm going to create a new text document. And I've introduced now text documents. GitHub is really good to save text documents. Okay, pictures and other kinds of documents can be saved and can be modified, but really it shines when you're storing documents that are called text documents, like that cupcake. It's very simple text, no formatting, nothing. I'm going to create a new document, and I'm going to call this document, so I have cupcakes, I'm going to call it, pound cake. Okay, poundcake.txt. Windows automatically, and so will Mac, put the extension txt. Don't be too concerned about that. That is just makes it easy for me to open it. So I'll open this file and I will create this. I don't know how to make a pound cake, so I'm going to invite collaboration here. I'm going to say ingredients and then directions, right? And then in the ingredients, I'm going to say I know I need sugar, and I know I need flour, but I don't know the proportions. So I'm going to say I really want to make a pound cake. I really want to make a pound cake, but I am open to suggestions. So this recipe is now ready for someone else to collaborate, or maybe I'll go over it later. So now I have two. I've changed the MD and also added a new file. So if I go to my GitHub desktop, I will see that pound cake, there's a plus sign, it was added, and readme was modified. Okay, deleted files will have a red minus sign. So these are my changes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say more recipes and directions. Okay, and that's all I want to do. So I'm going to commit it to main, meaning now they are committed in my own repository, in my computer, and I can push them to the origin after that, and now they're on the web. Now, a brief note, why are we committing to our computer if I already changed it, that's what it's there. Well, every time you commit, you say, hey, I've created a new version of these files, or I've created a new version of the whole repository. And what happens with that is that GitHub allows you to go back if you wrote the wrong thing. So for example, I can go to my history. This is in my computer, it's not in GitHub. And I can see, for example, the first README, this was it, right? Now, after this change, the README had these two things. When I formatted the file, right, this is what I got. But before that, I just had this, right? Oh no, this is the formatted one. Oh no, create cupcakes. This was it. It's look formatted here just because it's a short window and it wraps the lines, but really they're long lines. So I can go back and see the history of my files in my computer. That's why you commit. If you don't commit, this history doesn't get created. Okay? And when I commit and push to the origin, I also create the history on GitHub. So let's take a look at that. If we're here, if I refresh this, now you'll see that my pound cake is there as well. But if I go to cupcakes, for example, here's my cupcakes file. Okay. I can go here and I can see here the history. And I can click on the formatted file. And it's basically the exact same thing that GitHub Desktop gives me. Just going to dismiss that. If I ever want to go back to my regular view, I can click on code and I'll be back. Okay. So there's a lot to discover with history and with changes. I'm not going to get to that again because this is the basic of basics. After you're done with this tutorial, you can go on and look for a larger tutorial that most likely is going to have a program in there. Think of a program as a recipe. It doesn't need to have a program. It doesn't need to be a program. Thank you.